everyone, welcome back to our channel. My name is Newt. I'm just going to dive right in today's video. We're going to be redoing our kitchen countertops and doing a backsplash. Now this is what the countertops looked like before. Obviously they were just this blue color and then we just had normal painted walls for the backsplash part. But we got this vinyl wrap off of Amazon that is a matte marble. We decided on the matte just because it looked more authentic to what actual marble looks like. There's some companies that sell like a shiny marble and we didn't really like the look of that one. So we got this matte one and it actually was such a good decision. So we had to do a little bit of prep work, just cleaning the countertops. We had to move out the stove, as you can see us doing here, and then we had to cut and lay the pieces down to fit the size for the counters, obviously. Helped a lot to use a blow dryer to kind of get the creases out of the paper so it was a little more pliable. And then Mr. Newt did most of the work with this, just kind of cutting and placing and figuring out what was the best method to lay this down on the countertops. This first countertop that we're working on here, this went on really well and it looked really good, and that was because this countertop was even. The house that we live in is very, very old. I don't know if you've seen, I have another video kind of showing how this house looked when we very first bought it, and it was kind of not a dump, but we did have to do a lot of work to it. And but it's just an old house, and we kind of joke because there's a train that's sort of near us that sometimes you can feel it kind of shaking the house. So we kind of joke that it's kind of like the house was picked up and dropped by a giant at some point because some things are so uneven. But with that being said, the countertops themselves in some places they were very uneven. So it is, if you're going to get this wrap, if you have even countertops all the way, then 100% I would say go for it. It is beautiful. It worked out really, really well. But if your countertops are uneven at all, then I definitely don't think I would recommend this because it will bubble in the places where it's not uneven. Thankfully for us, those places are not noticeable. I think one of them is underneath the microwave, so that worked out. But if the whole countertop area was just uneven, then this wouldn't have worked at all. But thankfully for the most part, it was pretty good. So Mr. New just had to do a lot of cutting and fitting and just making sure that everything, the seams were all lined up. One thing we had to work on a lot doing this was the air bubbles that would get underneath. And again, they weren't too bad with this part over here where it's even, but on the opposite side of the kitchen, it was a little more uneven and the air bubbles were they were incredible. You could put a flashlight down just on the countertop and it would shine and you could see all the air bubbles, but there was like no air bubbles on this section of the counter, thankfully. But on the other side, we were amazed at how many air bubbles there were. So there's just different things you have to work with. Obviously it's never going to be perfect no matter what you do, because there's still going to be seams no matter what. It's not going to go on seamless. And here, I mean, you can see we did a pretty good job, or Mr. New did a pretty good job making the seams line up and such. So this is the first section basically done. Isn't it gorgeous? I just thought it was so pretty. It being matte just really made it look extra authentic in my opinion. Now it got kind of technical here, so I just kind of skimmed through this part because it's all basically the same thing, just unsticking and resticking and folding and pushing and making sure that you got all the seams lined up and stuff like that. So it wasn't that interesting. It was a little more difficult when we got around to the sink part. And this is the opposite section that I was talking about where it's a little more uneven. And then Mr. Newt had to do some finagling here to get this underneath the sink. And then we did end up going around and caulking edges of the sink and stuff to make them waterproof. And we had some casualties. And here's the countertops finished with the beautiful white cabinets, love it. And then this is some tile that we chose for the backsplash. Mr. Lemieux, of course, was very concerned with what we were doing on his Saturday. And I didn't film too much of this because it's kind of just the same thing. I just filmed a little bit of me actually putting it on because I was very proud of myself. But Mr. New is a tile expert, so he did the majority of this, and he did a really great job. I did help a little bit, and it was, I wouldn't say fun, but it was definitely a learning experience. But I just love the look of this tile. It reminded me of this honey pot made out of pottery that my mom got me years ago, just this really pretty blue pottery color, and that's what this tile reminds me of. See how shiny it is? It was so shiny and pretty. We just really, really loved it. And this is it basically done. The only thing left to do is to grout it. We had to take out the little spacers from everything. This was actually kind of satisfying. Mr. Newt chose this kind of a medium gray color, and it looked really, really good once it was dried. But he just went on, he did most of this. I did like a few little sections. It was not very fun. I do not like grouting at all. Especially the sections I was doing, they were really small and tedious, and I was basically using my finger to get it in, and it was just gross, and I did not like this part at all. It was very, very messy, and I don't like messes, so. But the end result is definitely worth it. Then before it dries, you kind of just go over it with a sponge to get rid of some residue, and then after it's dry, you go over with kind of like a microfiber cloth just to kind of shine everything up and get rid of any of those extra scuff marks that might be on there. And I got this little plant in this little fox container. I thought it was so, so cute to put on top of the refrigerator. This was kind of a like, congratulations, your kitchen's finally done commemorative plant. And this is the finished kitchen. Oh my gosh, it looks so, so good. We are absolutely in love with it. It was so beautiful, so light, airy. We just really love this kitchen now. The only thing that we added afterwards that I didn't include in here was under the cabinet lights. And that is really, really, really pretty. So here it is before, just like it was in the beginning, and here it is after. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day or night, and we'll see you in another video. Bye!